David's journey of transformation. David lived in a small town. He wasn't famous, rich, or particularly talented, but he had a dream. He wanted to sculpt a perfect statue from a large stone that sat in his garden. The stone had been there for years, unmoved and untouched, gathering moss and dirt. One day, David decided it was time. He picked up his chisel and hammer and approached the stone.
What are you doing, David?
I'm going to sculpt this stone into something beautiful.
That's a huge stone. You'll never finish it.
Maybe, but I'm going to try.
David started chipping away at the stone every day. In the beginning, progress was slow. Each tap of the hammer seemed to do nothing. The stone was stubborn, and David's hands were clumsy. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. His friends and neighbors began to notice.
Why bother?
It's just a rock. You're wasting your time.
David would smile and say, I'm learning as I go.
Sometimes David would make a mistake. A piece of stone would chip off in the wrong place, or the hammer would slip. When this happened, he would sit down, take a deep breath, and think about what he could do differently next time. Then, he would get back up and keep going. As the months passed, the stone began to take shape. What was once a rough, uneven surface started to resemble something more deliberate, more intentional, but it was still far from perfect.
One day, David's mentor, an old sculptor named Mr. Roberts, visited him. Mr. Roberts had years of experience and had seen many stones become statues. He watched as David worked, then asked, "What do you see in the stone?"
David paused. I'm not sure yet. I'm just trying to make it look right.
Mr. Roberts nodded. "It's important to have a vision, David, but it's also important to let the stone guide you. You can't force it to be something it's not."
David thought about this. That night, he sat in front of the stone and just looked at it. He imagined what it could be, but also listened to what it seemed to want to become. The next day, he picked up his tools with a new perspective. He worked with the stone, not against it. He embraced its flaws, its natural curves, and edges. He stopped trying to perfect it and started to bring out the best in what was already there. Weeks later, the stone was nearly complete. It wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful in its own way. David stood back and admired his work. It was a statue, but more than that, it was a reflection of his journey, his mistakes, his learning, and his persistence.
It's not what I expected.
Me neither.
It's not perfect, but it's you.
And that's enough.
The twist? The statue wasn't just a piece of art, it was David's own transformation, a testament to the idea that learning and growing aren't about achieving perfection, but about embracing the journey. The stone wasn't just shaped by David, David was shaped by the stone. The moral? Sometimes in trying to perfect something, we end up perfecting ourselves instead. All of us get perfected as we journey through life's endeavors and challenges. Please consider sharing this message with others. Turtles get there too.